Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another edition of the CalSoft podcast, your premier source for discussions on all things tech. I am your host Shantanu Pant, and with me today is Vikram Shibad. Hi, Vikram.
Hi Shantanu.
Hey. So, Vikram brings with him 19 years of experience and excellent feedback from clients. He believes in bridging the gap between traditional and modern analytics and bringing the full power of the modern data value chain to enterprises. So, without further ado, let's jump right into today's topic, which talks about the 5 things you must consider for your DQM program. Now, this podcast is designed for program managers, chief data officers, and other decision makers and influencers in the area of enterprise data quality. So, Vikram, just to begin with, what exactly do we mean by data quality management?
Data quality management is one of those things that mean different things in different organizations as per their cultural context. Some use it as another name for data verification, some use it interchangeably with data cleansing, and so on. Wherever a scientific approach has yet to be used to define, describe, and measure data quality, the focus is typically on testing to detect and correct data errors. Now, let's see how this understanding differs from expert sources in the field. Viewers may choose to pause the video and read some of these definitions at your convenient speed. On the top half of the slide are definitions by product vendors who are acknowledged market leaders in analytics, data integration, and data governance. On the bottom are definitions provided by key industry regulators in Australia and Europe. The common thread to note is that data quality management is not one specific activity or project. It is a way of thinking that combines organizational culture, well defined processes, technology platforms, and whatever else is needed to deliver the guarantee and the confidence that data can be relied upon for doing business. Thinking in these terms requires a leap of perspective that may appear to be difficult, but when you're armed with the right knowledge, it can be both methodical and effective.
Okay, so that seems to make sense, but it's a little abstract. Just to bring it into the concrete, as the leader of a DQM program, it's not particularly clear what I should be doing. What exactly, like, can you be a little clearer on this?
Yes. So we'll get straight to the foundations of our data quality management program. To use the analogy of a journey, before starting out, first you have to know where you stand, and then you can plan your path, your roadmap, right? You need a current state assessment. An organization's software engineering capabilities are expressed as a maturity level. For instance, in the CMMI model, we have a similar maturity model for data quality management. This model measures not just how reliable or trustworthy your data is, but the quality of design and outcomes of your capability. That includes your culture and people organization, your data management processes, and your technology platforms. One possible difference from CMMI is that it has been applied not only to entire enterprises, but also to clusters of teams and even individual teams in some cases. Let's examine briefly the criteria for placing an organizational unit in one of these maturity levels. In the absence of a DQM program, the default level is initial. At this level, requirements for highly reliable data are usually met with reactive efforts in silos by data engineering teams to correct data errors and address the root cause. Data user satisfaction is quite variable, and it is not easy to observe data quality levels at the organizational level. As you move up the levels, the organization acknowledges the need for providing minimum levels of data reliability. So data producing systems have contracts and service level agreements with their data consumers. If DQM efforts are decentralized, there are no simple interfaces for central observability, and SLAs may vary widely from one group to the next. Moving further along, you try to specify how data quality can be quantified as objective metrics. These metrics are monitored over time, and data quality dashboards are created to observe trends and patterns and to support causal analysis. Still quite decentralized, but this is an interesting point in upgrading your maturity level. Because once you start thinking of quality in terms of numbers, people feel responsible for putting up healthier numbers. When people really start to get behind the program, that's a very important step in a transformative change. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
So this becomes kind of an inflection point for individual teams because once you see the value in being able to express quality as a number, you typically place more focus on your data quality management efforts. And as a result, you fairly quickly move along to the next level of maturity. Moving on, you need to have common standards for data quality metrics across your enterprise. And you need a way to identify risks and areas of relative weakness. So you can prioritize investment and effort where it can make the most impact. You need to integrate your DQM platform with a good data catalog. Your program goals need to align with your data strategy, and teams need to have a way to share with each other their learnings and experiences in delivering good quality data. Now, you're never really done with your DQM program. As your business rules evolve and your systems evolve, you will need to continually adapt with newer ways and efforts of defining and measuring your data quality. And you need to do it at a pace that inspires trust in your data. And that's what the ultimate level of optimizing is all about.
I see. Uh, that sounds quite systematic. So, how does one exactly organize an enterprise level data quality management program?
Okay, let's get to the crux of today's discussion, the 5 things you must consider as a data quality champion or decision maker. These are just factors to contemplate, and as we don't know who's watching this podcast, we will not attempt to coax an organization towards making specific choices. You, the viewers, are the best person to judge what works for your organization. So, the very first factor, how do you envision the people and teams in your DQ organization? Will you continue with a decentralized approach, which is usually where you start at the initial maturity level? Or will it be an initiative controlled from a central program office? Or will you lay out what governance elements will be central and what decisions are best left to individual teams? So you weigh the consequences of these choices in your enterprise. Centralized teams develop a tendency where their focus on their goals keeps improving as time passes, but focus on aligning with business goals or data integration goals gives the impression of weakening. Also, data engineering teams develop the feeling of being watched rather than being helped, which is counterproductive. We already discussed the drawbacks of extreme decentralization, which are lack of consistent standards, lack of observability, and difficulty in orchestrating improvement initiatives. The federated model is where a central team sets up a platform whose goals are driven by its internal customers, data engineering and analytics teams, and data users. It demonstrates the value of a DQM program rather than highlight the pitfalls of non participation. Reward based participation encourages change in perspective, which is very important in a DQM program because at its core, it is a transformative change. And by definition, it requires a change in ways of thinking and working. This last approach aligns with a paradigm now known as federated computational governance, which is one of the data mesh principles.
So, choosing how to organize your people and roles is the first thing to consider. Got it.
Exactly. Next, your program extends towards 3 goals: data quality observability, corrective actions for known or reported issues, and preventive measures. How do you prioritize the three? Corrective actions are often a reaction to bugs or data issues reported by users. They are needed on priority and develop a tactical nature. The problems caused are visible to users, So you don't need to make a case for solving them. Corrective actions are happening all the time, even without a DQM program. With preventive measures, the impact is not immediate. It is sometimes harder for data providers to justify investment on preemptive action for something that they are held responsible to have implemented correctly in the first place. But a single preventive measure may end up saving time and money by not suffering the consequences of bad data and not having to take corrective actions in future. A DQM program that includes data literacy helps place focus on preventive measures. And finally, observability is the laggard. This is the strategic arm that shows you your key data elements, your problem areas, relatively weaker areas to focus on, how your data quality varies over time, and so on. A data quality observability initiative must have extremely strong and sustained executive sponsorship, as it takes time to deliver benefits. And in the meantime, the initiative will be questioned a lot.
So choosing how to prioritize the three arms of your DQM program is the next consideration.
Next, any organization with more than 3,000 employees or say $100 million in revenue is bound to have hundreds of different IT systems with data flowing between them. In this sort of directed graph of data flows in your organization, where do you start your DQM program and how do you grow? Start at the points of origin of data so that operational workflows may benefit from your efforts, or focus on the analytical end first so that decision support systems reap the rewards, or some other approach entirely. The answer may lie with your executive sponsors and their immediate goals and their long term goals.
So what systems to do first and which ones to do next and so on. Yeah.
Exactly. Next, we have the point where most organizations falter. It is an art more than a science to design a formal objective process to ingest business data for data quality monitoring, analyze it, and publish the results in the most consumable form. We at Calsoft have prepared process templates that take away some of the complexity in these design decisions.
Hmm. That's a very formal and detailed process.
Yes, and its effectiveness has been proven over so many engagements with our customers. How do you set goals for your DQM program? This decision may be informed by the current state of your data quality systems, direction provided by lines of business, and your organization's data strategy, among other factors. The effectiveness of all of the guiding principles and considerations we discussed so far depends on how you set goals. You will have the need to create business value as well as to demonstrate that value early in the program and often thereafter. So you need to set goals that are measurable, attainable, and verifiable. So those were the 5 things to consider in your DQM program.
I see. That was a lot of information, to be frank. Could we recap the highlights just for the benefit of our audience?
Sure. So some of the principles that usually guide us well in the long term are taking a federated approach, providing incentives for teams to assess and improve their DQ maturity level, maybe through gamification, and regularly taking stock of your data quality levels and processes and the value they deliver. And the 5 things you must consider for your DQM program: how to organize your people, roles, and teams, how to prioritize between the three arms of observability, corrective actions, and preventive measures, how to triage between which systems to focus on, how to set goals, and how to design an easy to understand workflow that supports your goals while encouraging participation.
I think that's all the time we have for today. Your analysis of DQM was incredibly insightful, and I'm sure you've brought a great deal of value for all our listeners. Thank you for being a part of this conversation, and I hope to see you on this podcast again soon.
Thanks for having me, Shantanu.
Well, this has been the Calsoft podcast featuring Vikram Shibad. I hope all of you understood how a good DQM program can help your business grow, as well as the steps you should be taking. Stay tuned for future podcasts where we explore the latest tech concepts and advancements. Thank you for listening.